Oh, that'd be hard.
Yeah, I know. Because you'd have to go to the internet, like type the word and hit search.
Then you couldn't just talk shit.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, you could have just sounded impressive by going, oh, his story. What a bunch of bullshit. What about her story?
Well, the other thing is people just think stuff, and then after a very short period of time, like in the beginning they knew they were just making it up, but after a while they actually start to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a lot of people that window of opportunity where I know the thing I'm just spouting now is bullshit too. That thing I just said is true. That window of opportunity, they didn't have enough time to like get to a dictionary before like their memory got changed.
Right. It's kind of like how it reminds me again of when you're a kid and people try to tell you that like all cuss words or all dirty words were actually acronyms that were meaningful and they magically became dirty words.
Right.
And you know, when you're 11, you kind of go, oh, I guess so, because you don't know anything.
Yeah.
And then you grow up, if you're like me, and then you learn a thing or two about language and you go, oh, all the other 11-year-olds in the neighborhood were full of shit too.
So like one example you might be talking about is the word fuck, and it stood for fornication under consent of the king.
And see, I've heard a different acronym.
Oh, okay.
For unlawful carnal knowledge.
Oh, wow.
And that's how you know. That's a good piece of evidence that shows you that it's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I
never heard yours either.
I was gonna say it's bullshit. Don't anybody out there think that I was defending that, because I think it's shit. So, but yes, yet more information, more evidence that it's conflicting. It's conflicting evidence.
Right.
And it can't all be right, but it can all be wrong. So.
Right.
One of the things I remember hearing a guy say is that the words God and good are related, and like that the word good came from the word God, or the word God came from the word good. I can never remember. It's stupid bullshit anyway, so it doesn't matter. But that same sort of, because the words sounded similar, and because he wanted it to be true that God was good, that all sort of in his crazy mind made sense.
Yeah.
So. And I couldn't argue him out of it, funny enough. It's funny how fucking assholes that think stupid bullshit never come around.
It's always problematic.
Well, on that note, actually, fucking assholes that think stupid bullshit, I wanted to talk about people that think we're the dumb ones and the foolish ones.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
This is a good opportunity to go over that. Like, there's a great quote from, I think it was Euripides. He said, "Talk sense to a fool, and he calls you foolish." So it's funny because I have a hard time arguing with people. And it's funny too that the many different people I've argued with and I'm still friends with and stuff, they don't all agree with each other.
Yeah.
But they all agree that some aspect of the things I think are foolish.
That's always fun.
I don't know. Like some examples would be like the megadosing on vitamins, like vitamin C to get rid of a cold. Or some people think that if you put a bar of soap in your bed, that you won't get leg cramps at night.
That's a good one. In a very minor way, the way I always think of this, I think I bitched about this to you before. Maybe not on the show, I don't know. But when I go to the grocery store and whenever I buy meat, I don't, like, they always say, oh, do you want this in a separate bag? And I, no. And they always roll, like, especially like the older cashiers. Like, they always roll their eyes like, oh, he's going to have fucking blood all over his food when he gets home. You know what? Never happened.
Well, that's funny that you say that because I don't really care myself. Yeah. But I've been trained to do that now from, the little lady.
All right, fair enough.
And if she ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
All right.
So... I don't know. I've always wondered if there actually is E. coli on the outside of those packages. It's not the blood leaking so much that I care about. That it's the rumor is that like the plastic wrap has like raw meat on it on the outside, and then you don't want to get it on everything else.
Right.
I wonder though, because it looks pretty clean, and I've had many a time where I handled that and then like ate an apple or something, and nothing ever happened to me. I don't know.
Well, here's what I do know, or here's what I can say rather. I have no idea. There could be 0 E. coli. There could be thousands of them, but
literally thousands of microbes.
Exactly. Maybe even hundreds. I've gone down a power of 10, so you know I'm serious. I'm not fucking around here.
Perhaps even more than that.
That didn't come out right. So anyway, but what I do know is that when I want to eat something and I'm not sure, you maybe wash it, or food that's raw, you maybe cook it. It's just one of those things where I'm like, it's just not a big deal. If you're worried that the apple might have E. coli on it, wash it with some hot water. Mm. I mean, if you really want an extra bag or whatever, it's obviously not a big deal. But it's just one of those things where I don't want the extra bag, and I don't like getting stared at like I'm a fucking dumbass for rejecting the extra bag and just going, no, I want to carry fewer bags.
Well, the other thing has happened to me where the cashier just automatically doesn't ask you if you want another bag. They just dump all your shit in the same bag.
Oh, okay.
So I think it just happens to be whatever person you're dealing with and how they project their beliefs onto the world.
Right. So
there are the 2 baggers and the 1 baggers. I guess we could break them down.
That's an interesting dichotomy. Onward marches the self-checkout lane.
So there are some people who think I'm a fool because I am a little skeptical of the idea that putting Vicks VapoRub in your socks when you go to sleep at night will do anything for you. People think that it'll either help you sleep or that I've been told correctly that it will remove your cough. You will not have a cough if you put Vicks VapoRub in your socks.
Yeah, there's a whole mess of just not thinking right with all that.
Yeah, and the neat thing about that is I stumbled upon 2 people. One said it was the cough, and the other said it was to make you sleep. So it's already starting to change and evolve to different people.
Yeah, well, it's getting back to what we just said about fuck.
Oh, yeah.
It's different explanations for the same phenomenon that people think are both accurate.
You know what I say about this?
Fuck it.
Fuck. Another one would be homeopathy, which we covered. There are people that I'm friends with and etc. that think homeopathy works. They think I'm the foolish one for not believing in it. Yeah, just the guy who said the God and good are related. You know, these things.
He's at least the guy. I'm going to give the good God guy, a little bit of a break because that's not that weird. I mean, they really are just one letter off.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, though, I looked it up, and it's just completely unrelated. Like,
true.
He should check before he just goes talking shit.
Now, that's where he fucked up.
Yeah.
Is because if he had said, I wonder if they're related, I bet they might be because they're such similar words, I go, oh, that's plausible. They really are similar words.
Yeah.
And, you know, God is good, and at least that's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. That's not like a crazy out there. Like, he didn't come to you and go, you know, God and good are related because an alien told me so. Like, he's got something going for him. But yeah, I know what you mean.
It's the difference between saying things like you're absolutely certain when you're not,
right,
and saying I wonder if.
Right. The one that I've I've gotten treated as a fool for, I would say in the past year or so, is for not getting into the hype about wheat and wheat gluten.
Yeah, that's a popular one right now. It's like a fad or something.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody does study these things, like actually tries to keep track of diet. Well, not just fads in general. I mean, that would be more generally like the study of like fashion or music or whatever, but specifically diet fads.
Okay, but I thought you were gonna go with like all of bullshit fads in general, but
you can take it up if you got something in that realm. Like if anybody tries to keep track of like, I wonder if they like have a longevity to them or whatever.
I think yes. I think that they probably start out small, get a big following. there's a thing called the grand supercycle, and it's a very simple looking like hump on a chart. It starts out, bottom.
It's also the foundation of ass-based medicine.
Well,
Sorry, anyway.
Ass-based medicine is just yet another fad thing,
Wait, what are you talking about? How dare you, sir? Sponsors pay no heed.
Is there something you want to tell me?
Go on.
Are you using a vitamin C butt plug as we speak? It burns.
Oh, how do you think I get drunk on the weekends, sir?
Oh, God. Just butt chugging, fucking butt chugging.
That's if you want to conjure the butt chugging demon.
That was weird.
That's what the butt chugging demon says every time he appears. That was weird. Especially because he sprouts out of somebody's ass. So anyway,
I think these things follow the grand supercycle, where it starts out small, and as time goes on, you get like a hump on a graph, and then it goes down the same shape as it came up in.
Yeah.
Rapid incline and rapid decline, and a certain amount of space in between where it's at its peak.
Right.
And a lot of things follow the grand supercycle. So, and I don't even know why they call it that. They just do for some reason. It sounds more like an Evel Knievel stunt than a phenomenal a way of studying phenomena. But
either way, there's flames on the side. Well, I wonder what makes things like the world religions different. Like, is it just a bigger grand supercycle and we can't see it because of our limited lifespans?
Yeah, it's just a many centuries long grand supercycle. But everything has an incline, a peak, and a decline at some point. Now, to figure out why like something like a fad, like the gluten-free diet thing, gains popularity for a while, and many other things. Like, for example, trepanation was popular at one time, and some people still do it, but it's on its decline for sure. Trepanation trepanning is where you drill holes in the skull in order to like alleviate medical symptoms.
Yeah.
So that had its time, and it's kind of waned. I can't think of a single thing that probably doesn't fall into this. Why gluten has become popular now?
See, the gluten thing is insidious, like the Zicam thing, because some people actually are gluten intolerant, and you can test them for gluten intolerance, and they should avoid it because they can't digest it.
Yeah.
So, but they're extrapolating to everybody and going, oh,
yeah,
maybe the agricultural revolution from the fucking Neolithic was a mistake.
Yeah.
Well,
there's arguments to be made about that actually, but not for the gluten reasons. Reasons,
but that argument has to do more so about with disease and sedentary life and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But they're calling into question the whole idea of like crop domestication and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, and then there's a sort of
living.
There's a sort of branch of these people that believe in like the paleo diet or
Oh yeah, eating raw foods is that part of the paleo diet.
Anything that a Paleolithic person would have eaten. So, and it's inconsistent too because it's not like they're avoiding carbs or whatever. They're taking in everything just in weird ways. Like you're not allowed to eat bread, but you're allowed to eat like berries and things.
Okay.
And you have to eat a lot of meat and a lot of fat, and it's been debunked. It's just another fad, and for some reason people think that it's a thing, and it won't kill you, but it's definitely a waste of time. It's a pain in the ass. It's completely inconsistent as to how it operates, and it's just something that some people made up because they thought it sounded good, but they didn't actually check. Funny how that works.
Well, it's based on and this is one of those things that people always go back to. It's based on that idea, I think, at least, of ancient wisdom. It was, back in the day, it was better. So we should eat the way that they eat back then because it's like ancient knowledge, ancient wisdom. They did it better back then. And it's like,
yeah.
They didn't do dentistry better. They didn't do roads better. So why did they do food better?
Well, I guess I don't know.
And where were we living in eating this paleo diet? Were we living in ancient Mesopotamia?
Garden of Eden, man.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because that's all there was.
That's all there was. It's a lush paradise for everyone. Except unless you were living in outer Mongolia or, some jungle somewhere, getting malaria or, on it goes. But other than that, God
damn it. Anyway.
Or the African savannah during the bottleneck period.
That's my favorite period of human history.
I had a bottleneck period last night, and that might be responsible for my feeling a little off this morning, but that was a different kind of bottleneck. But anyway, I'm just going to talk out of my ass here, but I think that these things pick up because people are being reactionary to something else that happened. So it's a combination of discovering that, let's say you're one of the rare people, and this is very rare, that has an issue with gluten. Like you have an allergy to it, or you have celiac disease, things that don't typically happen. Then you take that kernel of truth, and you're being reactionary to something else that happened, like the toxin fear mongering that goes on.
Right.
And you merge these ideas together to form a bastard child of a new medical fad or diet fad or whatever.
Okay.
And I think that's probably how it happens. And then there are enough people that believe that the argument from popularity is valid, that, along with the argument from antiquity and the argument from nature, that these things all just sort of, flow together, and you get this next fad. And then after a while, people realize it's bullshit. You always have a few holdouts at the end. And then a new thing comes along, and they're going to be reactionary to that. And, the best ones are the ones, I think, that have a kernel of truth in them. Like, that some people are, in fact, bothered by gluten. That's enough to get people to think, well, some people are bothered by it. Maybe everybody's bothered by it, so...
And it has to have that novelty to it, because I haven't seen anything like the no milk diet, because there's such a thing as lactose intolerance. It may exist, and I just don't know about it.
Oh, there are people that do that. That's a thing.
Even though they're not lactose intolerant?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. People do that. I've seen people ranted videos about that.
The evils of milk?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good times?
Yeah.
Good times.
See, that's the weird part about it. It's sort of like a Rule 34, except not with porn. Like you come up with some crazy thing, and I'll bet you it's out there.
Rule 34B.
I mean, I used to think the same kind of stuff. Like, oh, well, why isn't there a similar thing with milk as there is with bread? Nope, there is. It's out there.
You know what I bet is a reliable statistical relationship? That as food security has increased, the number of fad diets have also increased.
Yeah, part of it has to do with people having more time, and as your life gets easier, if you're a panicky person, you're gonna just find something else to panic about.
Oh yeah,
like all the moms out there that are just worried, nervous, wrecks because they're afraid of bullshit. Like I don't know. Like that you can't go swimming within like a half hour to an hour after eating. Like you can't let your kids. I mean, that's been debunked. Or that you can't like go out in the cold because you'll catch a cold. Things like that. If you are living in a time where really stressful things are happening, you don't worry about that crap.
Right. Yeah.
You're worried about not getting eaten by animals or destroyed by like an invading army, or if you're living in a time of great famine, you're not worried about like that little piddling bullshit.
Or even just like more, even if it's not those sort of, because you could paint those as extremes. You're just worried that there's a good harvest this year, so you've got shit to eat in 3 months. Yeah.
It's when you have plenty and you live in like, the first world. And,
where your house gets warmer if you push a button. Right.
You just invent shit to worry about. I can't stand that. I try hard not to. I'm definitely not that guy. I don't worry about shit. Like, unless it's a really big deal. Like, I'm the type of guy, like my car quit working a few weeks ago, and I don't carry a cell phone with me. And I was cool as a cucumber, and I treat that sort of thing as a fun little side adventure, And
right.
I wasn't worried about it at all. And after it happened, like the first thing I didn't do was go out and buy a cell phone. And I didn't worry about like, I took my car to a shop and, everything's fine again. I don't, but I know some people that would from then on take great steps to make sure that, but it's peddling little shit. You got to look at the bigger issues, the trunk of the tree and the main limbs, and not the buds on the ends of the branches.
Right.
It's like worrying that you're going to get the bottom of your dress shoes dirty because it's slightly muddy outside. When some people in the world, are worried about like
whether or not they're going to shit themselves to death.
Yeah, people are going to have like dysentery. It's all perspective and context, and I think people lose their perspective. That's the problem with these fads too, is they lose their perspective, and they need something once in a while to sort of jar them back to reality.
I can think of a good way to do this. We should have a fake charity drive where we collect sex toys to send to Africa. Dildos and fleshlights for Ethiopia or whatever. I don't pick a country. It doesn't, or for the whole fucking continent, except for the Arabs up north. Fuck them. Talking about sub-Saharan Africans. Strictly, we need to send them massive amounts of sex toys.
I'll bet you would get a lot of people to send in. I would say go with Somalia, and
that's true. Yeah.
You could say these poor people have had to resort to piracy on high seas, and why don't we gather up all of our used sex toys and send them that way, and they can create a new industry for themselves and get back on the map again. But
I'm just imagining some like African kid in a picture holding like a giant floppy dong and just beaming, just so happy.
I'm picturing them like using them as farming implements. They don't know what to do with them.
See, this would be funny, and maybe we could actually solve a real problem somehow. Like if we could hack into some shipping systems so that instead of massive amounts of like Kalashnikovs and machetes, instead of going to Africa, they all got replaced with like strap-ons and ball gags and dildos and butt plugs. Like we could probably bring down regimes just by switching shipments. Because you know what happens if all those Kalashnikovs show up or machetes or whatever show up in California? They'll just go, "What the fuck? That's not what we ordered."
Yeah.
Whereas in Africa, you might have saved thousands of lives just by fucking with the shipping.
And possibly, given some people like, some really great orgasms.
There you go. So Anonymous, the hackers out there, get the fuck on it.
That sounds like a good idea.
Switch up some shipping orders.
Yeah. Because, as I've said, we love you guys. And, we don't want to give you the idea that we're in any way against you or anything.
Good luck and Godspeed.
Yes. So moving on to another thing I was thinking about, positive piracy. So sort of an ongoing theme that we talk about is why piracy is good, why we are pirates. Mm-hmm. Why everybody should be pirates, and why it's inevitable that everyone will become a pirate. I think it's inevitable. I'm gonna go out and say that, I guess.
Okay.
So the song "Happy Birthday," you're supposed to send the owner of that song a royalty whenever you use it, like in a public setting. Except it's actually based off of a public domain song called Good Morning to All or Good Morning to You or something like that. I think that it's interesting because a guy on YouTube wrote another song called Happy Birthday, but it's spelled Berthdey. And it's about an ancient Egyptian god, I think he said.
Something like that. I don't remember.
And it's the melody is, the old public domain song "Good Morning to You," and the words are happy birthday. The words are exactly the same as happy birthday all the way through, but they're all spelled differently and refer to things out of history. And he just circumvented the system, like legally, I guess, technically. That's the sort of time when I think our system is fucked up, and to sort of have ownership over something like happy birthday doesn't make any fucking sense. And the fact that people are just they're trying to take something from us by copywriting happy birthday. Fortunately, this YouTube guy released his version of happy birthday, which is absolutely identical sounding anyway, into the public domain for anyone to use. So he has just allowed sort of in a way legal circumvention of copyright law. And what if he hadn't thought of that, but somebody got in trouble for singing happy birthday?
Right.
You know, that's where I think the system is fucked up, and I don't believe that we should really follow it that seriously.
Oh yeah, it does seem to have become like the irrationality of rationality when you get to the point that we have with patents and copywriting. It just gets to be absurd what you're allowed to. It makes me seriously consider the model of nothing is copywritten or righted, and nothing is patented.
Yeah.
Just fucking or we could do patents for some things, and then but copywriting, like for intellectual property, gone.
Yeah, I understand why. I understand the spirit of it all, but it's unrealistic. That's the problem I have, and it's inconsistent. It punishes people who are doing the right thing sometimes, or being neutral, or who are just unaware because the system is also so complicated that you couldn't possibly understand most of it, and the law especially. And I think the way the system is set up, where people can come in and take things that really shouldn't be owned by any one entity, like the peanut butter and jelly sandwich has been patented. So technically, like, you can't sell peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at like bake sales and stuff.
Right.
Because somebody owns that idea. And it's
fucking retarded.
You have to send a royalty to whoever owns it if you want to, make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in any way other than like for your own consumption. That's just ridiculous. It's not like the automatic transmission or like the invention of the telephone or something really complicated that it's two slices of bread and two kinds of goop smeared around in between them. That's not a complicated machine. It's barely an idea. It
is barely an idea.
And fuck you for doing that. That's just shitty. That's a shitty thing to do to everybody. And all it does is encourage people like me to break the rules whenever possible.
The only reason I would respect that person is if they did that just to show how absurd the system was.
Yeah, I don't know. As far as I know, they didn't do it for that, but...
Yeah, I was just throwing that out there because that would be interesting. Like if you just patented something and did a whole big book or like story on how, look how retarded this is, guys. I patented like a method of lawn mowing. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do it unless you send me a nickel.
Yeah.